everyone.
Hi, everyone. It's us.
James Wesley, my husband, Seth Rudetsky.
Yeah.
I was just about to do this. Turn on the light.
I don't think it's working. Oh, it is working.
Oh, but look how harsh that is.
God, we still can't figure out the lighting. We just saw Kat McPhee looking stunning because it's the West Coast. It's 2 hours before.
We're like, should we have
light.
the show at 5 p.m., 2 p.m. Pacific? Because this is crazy. It's so unfair that people on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's not
like
fair.
Golden time of lighting.
It's also, by the way, unfair people that are under 70. That's also the issue.
That helps too.
Look, the point is, this is Stars in the House. It's our, I don't know, maybe 110th show at this point, I think.
It probably
it's probably around 110.
Yeah.
And we're raising, well, first of all, we do twice a day, 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern. And then it stays up at starsinthehouse.com. And then as people watch, by the way, people watch all over the world, like literally all over the world.
Yeah.
And they donate. So you can either watch and just be cheered up and feel like, oh my God, the entertainment community is alive and I don't feel so isolated. But if you can, please go to starsinthehouse.com, send a donation. I keep saying every dollar counts. It does not. $5 or more. So you can't donate under $5. That does not count. $5 is the minimum, unfortunately. Starsinthehouse.com. And then once you donate, you're going to get a receipt. Forward that receipt to Stars in the House 2020. That was our dog. I've never heard that noise. Starshouse2020 at gmail.com. And then we'll get a little list. No, she's just itchy. Starshouse2020 gmail.com. And then we'll get a list and then we'll read them Jerry Lewis telethon style. But we've been raising money, like we said, for around like 110 shows. We've already raised over how much?
$301,000 for the Actors Fund.
Yeah. And P.S., what is the Actors Fund? It's such a misnomer. And I'm so proud of myself for knowing what that word means. I did do all my SATs. No other classes. AP English almost failed, but SATs, I know what misnomer means. It's not accurate. It's not just for actors.
It means it isn't just for actors. Yeah. It's for anyone who's a professional in the performing arts.
No matter
behind the scenes, on stage, on screen, behind the screen.
And
I mean, concessionaires, ushers, all of that. Everyone who makes their living in the performing arts, not just in New York and not just in Los Angeles, every city in between.
And nobody's working. And people, a lot of artists, most artists live check to check. Everything just stopped. People can't pay their rent. They can't pay their health insurance. People were expecting certain weeks from equity, and now they don't have those weeks, so they can't pay their health insurance. You just go to the Actors Fund. They will just send you money. The money that we're raising is just given out in cash.
Yeah,
go to actorsfund.org. I think the dog wants to eat.
So while you're getting the food for our dog, I'm going to read 2 thank yous that came in to the Actors Fund, because it gives you an idea. Hope this email finds you well. I just wanted to take a moment to send a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for the financial assistance during COVID-19. There is so much gratitude and appreciation for the generous gift that has been given me during this time. Because of this help, some of my rent expenses and groceries will be covered for May. And for that, I cannot say thank you enough. In a time with so much uncertainty, it is so important that we spread love, positivity, and gratitude. And it is certain that the Actors Fund is doing that and much more.
Wow. I mean, this makes me very sad. I mean, that's like, it's so literal, just groceries. Yeah. Anyway, it's depressing. But the good news is people are still donating, which I can't believe, because the economic uncertainty is crazy. And the fact that people are taking time to donate, it's very moving.
And one more that's really short. It's short and to the point. I wanted to thank you very much for the grant you sent me to help me through the crisis. The money you sent was a great relief to me and really took a lot of the fear out of this difficult situation.
Hi, Vezmir. So look, here's the good news. We have sort of a variety now on Stars in the House. We have our regular shows twice a day. Wednesdays and Saturdays, we have plays in the house. We began with Heidi Chronicles. Heidi Chronicles was the first with the whole original cast, Joan Allen, Peter Freeman, Cynthia Nixon. We do them twice a week now. So every week, Wednesday and Saturday matinee at 2 p.m. Now on Sundays, we started Plays in the House Junior for youngins. So it's really to help young people enjoy live theater again, like all the high school kids that don't have shows anymore, college kids. So anyway,
but like we had on Thursday night, we had Orange County School of the Arts here, and they were celebrating with the cast of Now Hear This, title show people, their virtual production, and trying to figure out how to keep theater alive, especially in the coming school year, when the chances of there being all of us gathering in a theater again are quite low. And so everyone's got to figure it out. And so it was fantastic. You can go back and watch Thursday's show, but go ahead, Seth.
But you can watch the Stars in the House now every Sunday are for young people. And we found a host that lives in our house, Julie Wesley. So we just showed the little beginning. This is Julie. Stars in the House Junior. It's every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Here's Julie's
We want to keep kids loving live theater, even if it has to be in a different format during this crazy time. Like they say, the show must go on, but sometimes the show must go online.
Okay, we're just discussing donations. Starsandhouse.com.
She just did such a great job.
Yeah,
We're like down
okay.
here. She's upstairs doing it.
Such
And we're
nervous
upstairs.
wrecks.
We're like stage parents. We're like, oh my gosh. And we knew we couldn't go up there if anything went wrong, and it didn't. She did
I'm
a
like,
great
do I have
job.
to take over? Do I have to put a full Julie wig, get into drag?
And of course,
it all worked
me, I'm
out.
like, she's better than me. She's better than me. She's better than me. She's better than
Competitive.
me the whole time.
Anyway, please donate. Starsandhouse.com. Please forward the receipt. Starsandhouse2020@gmail.com. Today we're celebrating Smash because there's a giant concert of Bombshell coming up yet again to help what? The Actors Fund. It happened a couple years ago. They filmed the whole thing. They got the rights from every single headachy union, and now the whole thing's going to be at people.com. So that's going to be on Wednesday. But we wanted to give you guys some Smash background information. So let's first bring on.
Oh, and so before
Yes,
we do
Queen.
that, because there are a lot of people, I'm sure, watching this for the first time, we do have, because this is during COVID-19, we are fortunate enough to have our very own medical correspondent, who is also the medical correspondent, the chief medical correspondent for CBS News. So
Yes.
halfway through the show, don't be thrown that you don't see Katharine McPhee, Megan Hilty, you don't see them for a few minutes, because we are going to have Dr. Lepook on to give us some updates on what's going on.
And the
Go ahead,
final
Seth.
thing is,
Yes.
on StreamYard.com, we use StreamYard.com. We're only allowed 6 people on
Oh,
screen.
right.
So not all 6 can be at the same time. So if I see any panicked comments about going, oh my God, where is Megan Hilty? I only came for Megan. I need to see Kat. If I see any of that, there's going to be some blocking happening. So you're going to see everybody eventually. So calm the F down. So first we're going to start.
Yeah, that's why I had to scroll down, because I had to see. I knew that Megan would be laughing.
Just so
very
you know,
loud,
there's
so.
beautiful Megan. She's going to be here.
Hey, guys.
She'll be here. Thank you, Megs. And of course, we have stunning and beautiful natural lighting. Kat McPhee on the West Coast.
Natural lighting with a ring light.
No, well, it works. Double whammy. Okay, but people, let's first start with, as we call them, the suits. So we're going to bring on the 2 fabulous producers and the 2 fabulous creators. They're not really the suits, but the 2, first of all, our 2 producers. We have the amazing Neil. Hi, Neil.
How you doing?
You also have great natural lighting. We're bringing on the fabulous.
All natural.
God, you look good. Bob Greenblatt is here. Hi, Bob Greenblatt.
How are you?
And then we have the 2 amazing people who wrote the score. We have our co-lyricist, Scott Wittman.
Hello.
Scotty. And we have our composer and co-lyricist, Marc Shaiman. Hi, guys. God, looking stunning. Okay, so do me a favor. So first of all, Neil and Bob, what is the difference? Because to me, as I said, you're suits. But what is the actual difference between your suitery? Go.
I was an exec producer along with Mark and Scott and Steven Spielberg. Bob was just running the network.
I guess I was the suit, and I don't have a suit on today. So, but the suit's the executive. But I really felt like a partner with all these guys, because
That's right.
we were in the trenches together putting this thing on, and it was really a joy.
Well, by the way, in case people don't know, Bob is like the antithesis of a suit. He's like obsessed with Broadway, produces Broadway shows. He loves theater. He's so not like one of those like hard-edged business people. He loves Broadway, loves theater. What were you going to say, Annie?
Bob, was it your idea to have the show? Like, how did it come about? How did it come to your attention?
You mean the concert, or Smash, the original series?
Smash.
No,
Smash.
the show, TV show.
Going back.
Okay, it's a story that I love. One day I got a call. I was at Showtime still, and I got a call from Steven Spielberg, who I knew to some degree, but not well. And he said, Bob, I have an idea for a series, and I've always wanted to do a show about behind the scenes of the making of a Broadway musical as a series. And I said, well, so do I. Let's figure out how to do this. And it was really that easy. And then I called first Neil Meron and Craig Zayden, who unfortunately is no longer with us. But I called Neil and Craig, who were the best producers of musicals in our generation. And I said, get on board this train with us, and let's do a show. And Steven had the title, Smash, from the beginning. Let's do a show about Broadway and see if we can get all of our audiences excited about it as much as we are. And that was the beginning. And then it took a couple of years before I went to NBC. And then I took the project with me to NBC. And it all started at NBC in 2011, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so Neil, what's the difference though? Like, because producer is so bandied about that term nowadays. Because a lot of people that like give $10,000 to a Broadway show, they're a producer. So what does it actually mean? Like, what? Thank you. What is like you're producing? What are you doing?
I'm what you call a non-writing producer, which kind of has kind of an overview of everything, and I get to comment a lot, basically, and I get to put out fires. I work with the network. I work with all of the creatives to make sure that everybody has a similar vision for what's to come.
There were a lot of fires too.
I was going to
There were
say,
a lot of fires.
I'm sure there's like 60% under wraps. I was
He's like
going
a
to say,
ringmaster. He's like a ring, and not that it was a circus, but he's a ringmaster, just making sure everything is
Yeah.
in place.
It's really to facilitate everybody trying to do their best work.
Unlike, it's sort of like the lead producer of a Broadway musical is similar to the executive producer of a TV series. We know there's lots of people who call themselves producers in the theater. And by the way, I call myself a producer also when I'm not the lead producer. But the executive producer or lead producer really is in charge of bringing this team together and then making sure everything, stays on the right, all the trains stay on the right track together.
To the best of their abilities.
but I need like specifics, like Neil, without breaking any confidences. Can you be like, so-and-so wanted to do this, so-and-so wanted to do that. I came in and I said, maybe you both should do this.
Every day.
Well, it may be breaking a few confidences if I shared some stories, but just in terms of elements of the show, the look of the show was very, very important. It was making sure that the Marilyn look was really good. The wigs were good. It was making sure that the costumes were in great shape, making sure that things were delivered on time, scripts, etc. Just commenting a lot and, again, putting out fires.
Also, I remember this clearly. The first thing Neil and Craig said to me after I said, let's do a musical series called Smash, they said, we have to get Shaiman and Wittman to do this with us. They are
Absolutely correct.
I remember the phone call vividly. Yes.
But we had just done the Hairspray movie together.
Right.
So Scotty, talk for a second. I would assume you guys said yes right away because it seems such a perfect idea. But were there any reservations about doing a TV series, musical TV series?
No, not at all. I mean, but the original idea that we would do a new musical every year, and that musical will then be put on Broadway. That was the concept that was pitched. So, but in the beginning, the tricky part was deciding what the musical was. And Teresa Rebeck, who was the showrunner, producer, she wanted to do as kind of the Three Musketeers, and I didn't really cotton to that. I didn't know how to write all those kind of songs with feathers and fans. So I suggested Marilyn, and that became, and everyone agreed that was the best showbiz story to take place in Smash and on stage.
Were there any Broadway fanatics like me that would say both the Three Musketeers and Marilyn were both failed Broadway shows? Anybody?
Yeah, probably.
There is actually I think the pilot, we make reference to the Marilyn musical that failed.
Right.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so Marc Shaiman, by the way, I love that all you did was make one comment and I read of the love Marc Shaiman. He's hilarious.
It must be the camera angle.
Why am I so red? I got
Welcome to our world. Okay, so
Oh,
God, ring lights.
here we go.
I got a ring light, but I can't fit it behind the piano. Oh, anyway.
You've got to move to Kat's house. Okay, so Mark, you and Scott, do you remember writing your first song? And I'm still obsessed with how anybody writes a song. So what was it? A lyric, a music, a go?
It was "Let Me Be Your Star" was the first song. Yeah.
What's
The first, and I will say the best, if I may, it's iconic now and nominated for the Emmy as well.
I looked up, knowing we were all meeting together. I looked up. I have all the emails.
No.
Right down to the other a few nights ago, and I have the emails where Bob did his greatest Arthur Freed moment, where the first version we wrote of "Let Me Be Your Star" was the lyrics were really about Marilyn and about the 50s and a man in the at a premiere of a Marilyn movie, and he said, can you make it not so specific? And I think first Scott and I were like, well, what are we doing? We have to write about what we're writing about. And then he said, don't rain on my parade. Except for, hey, Mr. Ornstein. That is the only thing in that whole song that has anything to do with Fanny and Nick. It just is about her emotion of wanting to, get done what she wants to get done. And we were like, ding, ding, ding. I mean, that's the perfect way to give a note, It was like, oh, yeah.
But then you guys wrote the song, and if you go through those lyrics, they're every bit about Marilyn. Fade in on a girl. I mean, it's all very much about Marilyn, except not literally her name. So the song becomes universal and really specific at the same time.
Right.
That's
It's like,
their genius.
it's like Dreamgirls, like Hard to Say Goodbye is like, you know, about a group
Right,
breaking
right,
up.
right.
It's also about a relationship. By the way, let me give a comment to Bob Greenblatt, because this is what I keep saying about a director, even though you're not a director. But I get crazy when a director does a revival and he's lauded, because I'm like, he's taking a perfect show and putting it on Broadway. Someone like Bob Greenblatt is saying, I don't myself write music, but here's what's missing. Can you make it like that? And that's what directors do. And that's what I think is so impressive, that you're saying, I'm not going to write it, but here's what we need. And that's how to create a show. And that's why I applaud thee. Thank you, Bob Greenblatt.
Thank you. I'm not a director at all, and I'm
I know.
not a creator at all. I just was in the mix with these guys, and it's a really creative experience to be doing things with them. And they take notes and they listen and they bring, you know, new ideas. There's notes they don't take, and you know, that's part of the process too.
Yeah, we're dealing with that today. So I thought I would play this little clip. I don't have any clips from Bombshell, but I have the song. Mark, this is when you were playing for me at the wonderful concert we did with Megan when she was joined by Jesse Mueller, who kind of learned the song the day before. This is like the last 40 seconds of it, but this is the first song you guys wrote, and it's Jesse Mueller and Megan. I was playing the concert, but I brought Mark on stage, and I just got on my iPhone and I just started filming from the stage. But anyway, listen how great this song is. I just love it.
I love that.
That was great.
I'm going to tell you, there's not a better accompanist in the world than Marc Shaiman.
Oh, I know. I can't take the talent level. And he's hilarious. Okay, so before we go to our next segment, there's so much to talk about. But Mark, you're going to do a song. What is the song? What's happening?
Oh, am I doing that now?
Yeah, because I got to do things in 3 segments.
Oh. Well, I mean, you said, is there a song from the show? Well, anyway, Scott, remember that we wrote a song for Liza Minnelli.
Liza was a guest. He was playing, obviously, Liza on the show. So, Neil had sort of graciously brought her into our world.
Yes, I remember going over to Liza's apartment and meeting Mark and Scott there so they could play the song for her.
Right.
On one
And she said to me, baby, I'm going to give that song all the heart it wants.
Yep, it was one rainy afternoon, I remember.
Yeah.
And we did have the book a recording studio where she could smoke.
Yeah, that was the tricky part.
Yeah. God bless her. But is this song too much of a ballad to do right now? I don't know.
What's going up and down?
So it's called A Love Letter from the Times, which is, you know, every now and then in your life, you may be lucky enough to get a love letter from the Times. You know, you wake up the next morning or go to the opening night party. And so this was the song that Christian Borle's character wrote for Liza Minnelli to sing to
Megan's character.
Ivy. Now, meanwhile, Scott and I knew we had to somehow get the word terrific in the song. Liza Minnelli is just known for always terrific. You'll hear on the bridge we manipulated. Oh wait, I have to go up here. I have to look at the lyrics. Oh, here we go. May each evening be a triumph where the planets are aligned. With you, the star that hits the sky and climbs. And when you waken in the morning, well, dear friend, I hope you find a love letter from the Times. Then an afternoon of roses like the at-home section brings just past the metro section and its crimes. I hear 'em yelling on the sports page, but the arts and leisure sings to you a love letter from the Times. A full-page ad that's full of quotes about your face, your style, those notes, superlatives about your gifts, prolific. The raves from me would never end about the girl who's my best friend. She's wonderful. She's special, Scott.
She's terrific.
So that's the gift I wish for you and hope I can achieve. And someday when this world runs out of rhymes, I don't care about my notice, but I know that you'll receive a love letter from the Times. A love letter from the Times.
Terrific.
Terrific.
That could have been written in 1954.
Yes, it's very Billy Barnes.
Okay, so Mark, I'm about to get a list of donations. I'm going to send them to you in a second.
While Seth's sending that, Bob, do you want to talk about what is happening on Wednesday night?
Oh, yeah.
For the few people who don't know.
Thank you for letting us plug it. We, in 2015, the cast of Smash came together and did this incredible concert of the music of the songs from Bombshell. And one night only, no one saw it except the sold-out audience at the Minskoff Theater. And we filmed it for archival purposes and never planned to put it out. But we decided when the Actors Fund came to us this year, to Neil and myself, and they said, can you do anything to help us? We said, why don't we take that footage, which is the complete concert, and put it together with a fantastic new cast reunion. We got 15 of the actors back together, and we're putting it all together. It's a 2-hour experience. It's the whole concert, and during intermission, you see the cast for 30 minutes talk about the show. Deb Messing, Kat McPhee, Megan, everybody from the show, Christian Borle, all these incredible Tony winners and Tony nominees. And for the people who love Smash, I think you are just going to go crazy.
It's on people.com, right?
Right. People.com and people's social sites, as well as I think it's this. The People feed is also going to be featured on Theater Mania and Playbill.com, and then it'll be up for a while after that. But we just want to raise as much money as we possibly can for the Actors Fund, of course.
I think it will be on YouTube as well.
Yes.
Great.
That is incredible. Okay, so Mark, do you want to? I just sent you some donations. Is that me?
No, I think that's Mark.
Oh, I sent you
There's
donations.
dinner being delivered.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Well, it's a long, it's a tone.
Oh, people make comments too, so you gotta read it.
So, Karen from Tampa, $51. 51. I like that. That's interesting. Not 49, not 52. Karen from Tampa, she's giving 51. More? Do I have to do more? I'm excited.
Yes.
Oh, jeez. Emily from New York, 25. She can't wait for Smash reunion on Wednesday. Aaliyah. Oh, I thought from India. I was gonna. Aaliyah from Indiana, $10. Thank you, Aaliyah. I don't want to eat up into the Cat Megan time. I know
The show's already over.
Come on.
Nicole from New York. We have a lot of people from New York. Jaden from Pennsylvania. Thank you for that $10. Now, if you could just pay Scott's Cinderella bill. And finally, Jonathan from Oregon. Ooh, $20.
Yeah.
I thought Pennsylvania would get a mania rhyme there. It's
Co-lyricist. Okay, so don't forget, people keep donating Stars in the House. It goes right to the Actors Fund, and then forward those emails to starsandhouse2020 Gmail, and then Marc Shaiman will have a heart attack setting it to music.
Seth, do you want to bring on for the next segment Dr. LaPook?
Yeah, we gotta bring in Dr. Luke. We gotta get a medical update.
And in the meantime, you can still donate, obviously, Stars and House. So
Yes.
tell them that whole thing.
So
Really
you donate Stars Now. Who the hell is that?
I think it's Marc Shaiman.
No, that's an AOL sound. Is that me?
It is not you.
Who has AOL besides me? That's embarrassing.
I do, but it's,
Oh,
but
it's
it's on.
Wittman.
It's
Sorry,
on.
sorry, Mark.
I know that sound, Scott. I have the same one. It's so mortifying.
It's old school. It's old school.
Chat room right now.
Stars on House, and then you forward starsnow2020 at Gmail. And right after this, we're going to have the ladies of Smash. But first, the gentleman of CBS, our medical correspondent, Dr. John LaPook. Hi, Dr. John.
Hi, everybody. Neil, Bob. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Well, there's some pretty good news today. I was out in Central Park for the second day, and for about an hour and a half, and I have to say, it was pretty good. I don't know what happened between yesterday and today, but people, I actually videoed. It was pretty good social distancing or physical distancing. There were a few stragglers who weren't following it, but for the most part, I was really impressed. And I promised I would be on really quickly because what a show you have tonight and all these amazing people coming on. But
I do have a question, though. Go ahead and say what you're going to say, but I do have a question that I think will help clarify things. So go.
So what I want to, everybody's asking where you get information because we on the evening news tonight, we said 48 out of the 50 states are reopening to some extent, right? And many, many, many are headed in the wrong direction in terms of number of cases. So I've told you about cdc.gov, but I'm looking at a website that I've just found. It's called covidexitstrategy.org. So COVID exitstrategy.org. And if you put that in, it's really amazing. You can go right down and what's red, meaning, cases are increasing, yellow, meaning they're kind of like this, and the rest of the criteria, not just cases, but the ability to test and ICU capacity, things like that. The only two that are green are New Jersey and New Mexico right now. New Mexico has an 8% decreasing over the last 14 days trend, and New Jersey actually has a 55% downward trend. But places like Texas, where you hear that it's reopening, has 32% increase in cases over the last 14 days. So they've gone to the trouble of having all this different input from all these different sources that include the CDC and Kaiser Family Foundation, which is not Kaiser. That's a nonprofit. It's not the other Kaiser. Anyway, I'm finding, I just discovered it in the last week, and I find it really interesting. One more time, covidexitstrategy.org, because I'm telling everybody the devil's in the details, and you got to know what's going on in your area. So if they're opening up in your area, and yet the cases are going up, and it's red on here, think about it. Okay.
So quick question, because I think this applies to anyone who's watching. So what I just read in the Washington Post or New York Times right before we came on was basically about 50 different states, different governors saying this is why you should get tested. You just get tested just because. Others saying only do if you have symptoms. Illinois saying we don't have enough tests. It's like, what is the criteria now? We know what it was a month and a half ago to get tested. There weren't many tests. So if you were basically having all these symptoms, then you'd get it. But what now?
So you're pointing up a real good problem that a lot of people have complained about, which is, what about the national guidelines of this? Now we're down to each 50 states, and we're seeing different criteria within the state. You may even see a difference between the state criteria and the city criteria, and they basically punt it to me, the doctor, and they say, well, if you think it's okay to order it, there's lots of different criteria for it. Let's get to the bottom line here. Everybody and their mother wants an antibody test, right? They want to know if in the last 3 months that sniffle they had was COVID, or maybe no symptoms, since we're hearing such a high percentage of people have no symptoms. And what the CDC is emphasizing, and every smart person who I've spoken to about this, is even if it's positive, you do nothing different in terms of your behavior. It's interesting to know you probably have some degree of protection, but we're not sure about that. We don't know how long it's for. We certainly don't know if it means you can't spread it to somebody else if you are infected right now and still have virus, and now you're starting to get antibody. There are so many questions here that's one of the problems here. And now if you add on top of that, the fact, not the antibody test, but going back to the nose test, the PCR, we're finding out that some of those tests are really not sensitive. So they give you these false negatives, meaning you have the test, you're told it's negative, but you really have the virus. That's worse than no test at all. I'd rather have no test at all than have a test that's giving me wrong information. So you're right to be confused. Ultimately, you got to talk to your caregiver, your clinician. I know a lot of people out there don't have clinicians, and if that's true, every state has a hotline. And I've tested in New York State Department of Health. They pick up like that. So I would say if you don't have a clinician, call the State Department of Health or your local Department of Health.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
LaPook.
Dr. LaPook.
80% good news. All right. So,
And all these guys I love. Anyway, go for it.
theater. All right. Bye, Dr. L. Okay, so Neil Meron, like I said, we can only have 6 on. So I've got to ixnay you, but I'd love you to stick around because I may be bringing you back. However, I do want to have you just back on just to talk about your whole career because I'm completely obsessed with it. So that's a side note. Like I need to go through like not just Smash, like everything. Okay. But Neil, don't go anywhere. I'm going to bring on the lovely ladies. All right, so please welcome to Stars in the House. She's blonde, she's beautiful, the lovely Megan Hilty. Hi, Megs.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi, Megan.
I didn't get it.
Hey.
You got an
Do I need
introduction.
to wear these? Should I take these off?
You don't have to.
Can
You don't
hear me?
have to.
You don't have to.
Should I take my wig off? And then also, let me please welcome the lovely Miss Kat McPhee.
Hey. Hooray.
Yes, sultry. Okay, so my first point is, when I was on Smash for an episode, and literally everyone, I had no idea. I thought you were Katharine McPhee, and I kept hearing Kat, and I was like, what is everyone talking about? It was making my head come off. So have you always been Kat, and only like I'm not famous enough to have known that? What was happening?
When I was on American Idol, Ryan Seacrest just started saying Kat McPhee, and then it just stuck. I'm people call me Kat, but it became my light just went out.
That bragging.
That's so weird. But yeah, I think that's kind of professionally how it stuck, but that was pretty early on in my. Oh my God, the light.
You look
That's all right. My camera adds 50 pounds.
Well, anyway, here's me, Christian, and Kat. When I finally knew her name was.
Aw, you guys are so cute.
That was the opening of the Liaison.
Oh my
Right?
God.
Oh, right.
Yeah, actually, I found the clip online. They let me change my lines, so they were able to. I was able to ask you, Kat, like, are you is the show amazing? Wait, let me see if I can find it. I was like, is it amazing or not? Okay, here we go. I think this is
Amazing? How do you belt?
Yeah,
It
it's a
shows
big
the edge and
old-fashioned
sadness
musical.
under-
Big number.
Go
No,
ahead.
after you.
Which one is it? Old-fashioned or edgy? Can't really be both, can it?
No.
Well,
No.
yeah.
Oh my God, that's John Cameron Mitchell. And there's Karen with Seth Rudetsky.
Look at her, she fits right in.
Oh, she does. She's a star.
still got it.
Oh my God. We wrote so many songs for that musical. My God.
That was fun. I forgot about that.
And there were real playbills too. All right, so
I like how Seth had one line in the show and he was already changing it.
you know what? Sorry, don't hire a star if you don't want a star's opinion. All right, so Kat McPhee, I have no idea how you got the gig. Did you have a long audition process? Was the role written for you? Go.
Well, I was listening to Bob speak, and I talk about this. Well, I will talk about this with the stream we do on Wednesday, but I came off it. Everything goes back to American Idol. When I was on American Idol, the season was so huge. It was like at the top of its numbers in terms of ratings. And I got a call that Steven Spielberg wanted to take a personal meeting with me. And if you could only imagine, like your mind is completely blown. And I went into his office at DreamWorks and had a lovely sit down with him. He was just asking me what my inspirations were, what I wanted to do. And he said, did you want to do Broadway? I said, yeah, I really love to do Broadway one day. I'd like to act. And, I was very careful how much I was like, I want to act, because it's so cliche, like come off of a reality show and be like, I want to be an actress. But that's what's so amazing about him is he didn't discriminate like against somebody who is a contestant on American Idol. He just was interested in talent, and he saw something, and he said to me as I was getting ready to leave, he said, I have an idea. I don't remember if he said for you, but he says, I have an idea for something you might be good for. It sounds probably a little bit more accurate. And then I got a script for it, like, and it was originally at Showtime when Bob was at Showtime, and they said it's going to be a couple years, and then a few years later, I know there's like a whole history. And when they sent it to me, and I didn't even read the script yet, I knew exactly what it was, and I was like, this is the thing that Steven Spielberg was talking about all those years ago. And I auditioned for it in LA. And then before I knew it, I was on a plane in front of Marc Shaiman and Scott Wittman, and you guys were filming me. And then I knew Marc and Scott because I had done one Broadway workshop of Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I was in.
She nailed it.
Right.
We had the character of the hooker had a whole song, like a full.
The one Jennifer Garner played in the movie.
Song.
Yeah.
And Bernie Telsey said, Kat McPhee, and we had snobbish New Yorkish, like, that a girl from American Idol, really? Is she going to be able to, like, really? Kat came in just so cool as a cucumber and nailed this song.
Oh, of course she did.
Now, Bob, do you remember Kat auditioning?
I do, and I will say I remember Steven talking about her early on, and yet Steven is such a great creative partner. He wasn't ever going to say, he wasn't going to insist that she's to be cast. So he said, let's make sure everybody's on board, and let's have her work with Marc and Scott and read some of the scenes. And she was amazing from the get-go, and there was never anybody else that we considered. But it was Steven's eye he's a huge television watcher. And he was talking about it from the beginning.
Right.
So Megan, I feel your story is so the opposite.
Yes. It was crazy. I was pounding the pavement in Los Angeles, and I saw the script, and I remember seeing that Ivy was a seasoned ensemble member of at least 10 years, and I was like, oh, that's actually not me. This person is a lot more talented than I am, because this means that they're a dancer and a really, really, really good one on top, and can do all of that stuff. And I am what we call in the biz a singer who moves well. And even that is like really, really, really generous. So I was like, oh no, I can't audition for this. I really, really, I don't want to literally fall on my face in front of all of these fancy people, which I literally have in dance auditions in the past. That's for another day. But and luckily my manager is smarter than I am, and she was like, just go put yourself on tape in Los Angeles, and it'll work itself out. And she was right.
I'm going to tell you, all these years later, Megan had a little bit of an inside track, although, again, everyone had to be on board. But she and I did 9 to 5, the musical, together on Broadway. So when she says, she's not experienced enough to have played, this fictional character, she played Dolly Parton's role in 9 to 5, and she was incredible. Yes, and prior to that, she was in Wicked, and she played, Galinda. So we knew that she was perfect for it. And, everybody sort of had to go through the paces, but I think from very early on, we knew that she was going to be Ivy Lynn.
It's so amazing because it's like I had this little connection to Steven Spielberg, and Megan had this connection to you, Bob. And, we all had to do, like you just said, go through the motions of auditioning and putting ourselves on tape and flying to New York, whatever. But it's kind of like it was already written.
And sometimes I wish we could say to actors, don't worry, you're going to get it.
Right.
You have to go through the motions, but
that would make us feel a whole lot better.
Why couldn't you do that, Bob?
Yeah, why can't you just do that?
Why put our friend Megan through so much?
You know what? Marc Shaiman never wanted her. We had to talk him into it.
I'm still working on him.
I broke that rule. Will Chase came in. Scott, when we wrote Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Scott and I were trying to think, who could we get to demo the song? And Will Chase was married at the time to Stephanie, and he thought, "Oh, I just saw this married couple at a cabaret somewhere, and it
Will
would
and Stephanie, right?
A couple sing it." So they came in, and then Will said, "Well, I won't even get an audition for this." But he did get an audition. But there were many people coming in for that. It was like Joe DiMaggio, like big names were coming in. But Will Chase gave a great audition, and Steven Spielberg was like watching.
That's my Joe DiMaggio, he said.
Oh, in the room, like,
wow.
And he said, "That's the guy." So he got the part. But I wrote to Will Chase that night, just said, "I know a secret." I didn't say anymore. I just said, "I know a secret." It was so thrilling that he had gone from like, I won't even get an audition to landing the part.
That is. Wait, Megan, so talk about the crazy, horrible, how TV works, because it's so different from Broadway. Because when you audition for a Broadway show, you get cast in a Broadway show, then you negotiate your contract, and then you say yes or no. Talk about your crazy quandary.
Yeah, well, it puts us in a little bit of a tricky situation, because when you're testing for one pilot, you've made it that far, you have to negotiate a contract as if you've gotten the role, and you can't test for anything else unless you've been released for it from the first one. And there were a couple other pilots that I was supposed to test for at the time, so it put me into it was the most lovely kind of stressful week you could have had. Yeah. I won't complain about it because it was a wonderful, tough position to be in.
Yeah, but nothing was guaranteed. You were up for all three.
Yeah,
and
they could all go away at any moment. Yeah.
So you were so nervous about the dancing, you wound up dancing a storm. Was it all just weird? Was it your head and a fake body the whole time?
Well, it's the magic of Josh Burgas. I mean, he deserves that Emmy and like 15 more. He's so talented. And what you're gonna love by seeing this concert live is that not only is he super talented at choreographing for the camera, but it's gorgeous in person too. It does both things. It's really beautiful. You will also notice in the live version that you're going to see on Wednesday that I'm not really dancing. He's
dancing.
He's genius because he looks at any person and he sees your capabilities and he goes, great. And he highlights them and makes you shine. If you pay attention during Wednesday, you'll see all those incredible dancers are literally doing the heavy lifting and just kind of throwing me around while I give you
throwing me around too.
Yeah.
This is
Wednesday. I mean, when we watched it recently, these two ladies, they sing all these songs and
they're in every number practically,
and singing live, and the mere fact that they had the chutzpah and courage to say yes, let's do it all live in one night. I can't even imagine what it was like for you backstage.
It was. It was really daunting, and I will say, after watching this concert, it doesn't do the energy justice. When I have never felt that type of energy ever, like in a theater, in a concert, in anything, and it was like almost palpable coming at us. It was a lot, in the most wonderful, positive way. I wish the video captured that.
It's hard.
You can't. But the energy in the room was
when
electric.
Rosette and I were mixing it, we actually played around with adding audience reactions,
right?
Only because, like you're saying, the memory of the night is like we all felt like the Beatles for one night.
Yeah.
But without any images of the audience, adding in sound effects sounded. So every now and then you can hear a sort of eruption that's going into the mics on stage. But
it was so much grander then.
What's amazing about that concert is it wasn't designed to be all those songs were designed to be played in one evening, right? They're from many, many different weeks of shows. And when you put them all together, it makes for an exciting evening. But in terms of what the performers have to go through, you would never have that many power ballads and incredible numbers in one show. And yet we did it. And none of them for a second said, "Oh, we can't do this." Everyone just did it, and in one day, it was one day of rehearsal, and then we did it, and that was it.
Well, we rehearsed for a while, though. We rehearsed for a while.
We were in the theater only one day. Never
one day in the theater. Yeah.
Nevin Steinberg was a miracle maker.
But I think we had a week of dance for. I mean,
Yeah, we were in the studio for a week. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was
Katharine
still like,
Let me ask you: was it scary to do American Idol, or was it scary to do the show on Broadway? They both sound terrifying.
American Idol hands down. If you have zero experience and I was literally petrified every time I walked out there. I mean, my heartbeat was racing so hard every time I would go out and do a song. And there's so little, talk about little rehearsal. You had little rehearsal and then they had you doing all kinds of stuff the whole week leading up to your live. And I also didn't sing properly back then either. So I would set the keys way too high and screen them out, and then the next day I'd be hoarse from singing for 90 seconds or something like that. So I had a lot to learn, but it was a good training ground for me. But nothing is valuable as experience, because when you get experience, it gives you the confidence to know what you're doing. And so for me, the live concert that we did for Bombshell was, yes, I was super nervous and all that stuff, but it's the experience of all the things you've done in the past just kind of ground you a little bit. It doesn't mean don't get nervous. I'm literally nervous that I'm going to sing at the end of this. I'm totally nervous. I always get nervous, but it's just a difference between how I used to be able to channel it, right? So,
can I share one more memory that just came?
Yes, Marc Shaiman.
That one, the girls would come over to our studio and sing, I would sing a demo, and then they'd come the next day and they'd have to sing this performance. Anyway, one day our air conditioning broke, and Kat was coming over to sing, and my co-producer Scott Risette is a very dad. He's dad. He's kind of guy, and he was engineering, and Kat finally was like, "Guys, it's so hot." He said, "Scott, turn around." And she's wearing the whole session in their bra and panties. They didn't care that I was staring at her.
You know what?
Scott, turn around.
That pretty much sounds like me.
It was you, yeah.
If my husband's in the other room watching this, he's going to be like, "Oh, I can't believe her."
We should have written that into the show.
Yeah. All right. So Megan Hilty, speaking of singing, we hear you're going to give us a song.
Yeah. My handsome husband's here to play with me.
Yeah.
Ready? Brian's here.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Brian Gallagher.
Brian Gallagher's here. Hey.
So the
Hi, Brian.
Dun, dun.
we're doing songs that aren't in the concert, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do "Crazy Dreams." I sang it in the second episode, and it's one of my favorite songs, and I feel like it's so appropriate for now, especially whenever I'm talking to young kids that are in theater programs that are either on hold or have moved to online. This song is all about the little artist and the little dreamer that's in everybody, and to hold on, because all those dreams are gonna come true one day.
Hey, don't forget, people, all these artists are working this for free. You go to starsinthehouse.com to help out, starsinthehouse.com, and then forward that receipt, starsinthehouse2020@gmail. We're going to go off screen so you can enjoy.
Oh, are we going? Is it us? Where's it?
Places.
We got the good. Okay, we're singing. This is a great intro. Yeah. Hello, you long shots, you dark horse runners, hairbrush singers, dashboard drummers. Hello, you wild magnolias, just waiting to bloom. There's a little bit of all that inside of me and you. Thank God even crazy dreams come true. I've stood at the bottom of some walls I thought I couldn't climb. I felt like Cinderella at the ball, just running
running out of time. So I know how it feels to be afraid. Think that it's all gonna slip away. Hold on, hold on. Here's to you free souls, your firefly chasers, tree climbers, porch swingers, air guitar players. Here's to you fearless dancers, shaking walls in your bedrooms. There's a little bit of all that inside of me and you. Thank God even crazy dreams come true. Never let a bad day be enough to go and talk you into giving up. 'Cause sometimes everybody feels like you. Oh, feels like you, just like you. Thank God even crazy dreams come true. Thank God even crazy dreams come true. It's Brian Gallagher, everybody.
Yay! We love Brian. Okay, let me get everybody back. Kat McPhee, Scott Wittman. You got a big compliment. Somebody died because of you. I am deceased.
Oh, Maria.
So Julie Andrews' avatar.
And probably needs Bombshell.
So, which of course, that's what so many people are asking. So who wants to answer that question the best they can of when Broadway reopens, when will Bombshell be
I
coming?
think Bob Greenblatt should take that question.
Well, look, we've always talked about maybe bringing a version of this show to Broadway, and all I will say is stay tuned. I can't reveal anything more, Seth. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, stay tuned is not saying it's not going to happen. So that's more positive than I expected.
Is there a desire for it to come to Broadway? How about that?
Yes, we all love the idea, and so do our fans, I think.
Okay.
So, I think just stay tuned. Maybe.
Well, as long as everyone wants to do it, then that's the
Now, I'm sorry. Where's it?
By the way, can I say, wait until you hear Megan on Wednesday sing Everything But Moving the Line is just incredible. And Let Me Be Your Star with these two incredible women is going to blow your socks off.
I was always jealous of that song. It's incredible.
It's the perfect song.
Yeah,
Mark and Scott wrote the perfect song, and I got to sing it. I'm the luckiest person to
sing it. And that went even back from the Smash episode. I mean, it was just spectacular.
Kat, what was your favorite song to sing in the Bombshell concert, and as well in the entire series of Smash?
I think probably I really enjoyed Cut Print Moving On, and I enjoyed shooting that as well. It was just like the costumes and getting to work with Christian a little bit more. And I did sing that in the concert. So
yeah. I mean, whenever we could, we always try to put Christian in a number, even though it didn't make any sense.
I know. He's so amazing.
We made the mistake sometimes of casting some of the greatest Broadway singers in roles that really didn't sing. So we tried to find contrived ways to get them to sing, like Brian Darcy James too.
Right.
Golden voiced Brian Darcy James. Golden voiced.
I know, and he hated musicals. I was like, it's so contrary to see me so angry, Deborah. Mark and Scott, will you talk about Secondhand by Baby Gran and like how it was written, and then who it was written for, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, it was a true story. She had a piano that her mother had when she was a child. This is Marilyn. And then the piano was sold when her mother went quite mad, and they were living from house to house in foster homes. And then many years later, she found the piano again and had it. And now we know it. Who owns it now?
I know.
Yeah, of course you do. Mariah Carey.
Crazy high whistle tones.
But
Wow.
so it was a true story that I had found in one of the books. I would do copious amounts of research on all these things. It's for it's the truth of it.
And who is it? Oh, wait, Mark, you're on mute, I think. Wait.
God, I've been saying such wonderful things.
Haven't heard a word.
That song would be like a good one to do like a master class, because I mean there's this perfect chapter from Marilyn's autobiography, that the story that Scott just said, and how this was her only happy memory, was sitting under that piano when her mother was the only time her mother was happy was playing that piano, and how she searched for it, and how we just read these 5 pages and said, how do we make this a lyric? And I'm very proud of how it came up, and then to have Megan sing it like that, you know.
Who is it? Who did the demo of it?
Megan.
No, I didn't. I remember this vividly because I was recording something else for you in the recording studio, and you guys were like on a break. You said you got to hear this.
It was probably
somebody else to sing another character, not Kat's character.
Was it Shayna?
It's Christine Ebersol.
Christine Ebersol.
Oh, Christine Ebersol.
And I wept, and I was like, "You are never allowed to play me demos of songs that I can't sing because this is not fair. This is perfect." And then somehow I got to end up singing the song.
I'm trying to get Christine into the show. That's a good idea. But I'm going to say one more thing about the genius of these songwriters.
Oh.
You know, they take material and they're so research driven, and they turn them into stories and songs that are perfect with the characters. Another one of my favorites is "Never Give All the Heart," which is a song Karen sings, and that's based loosely on a Yeats poem, which was something that Marilyn was also fanatical about. So it's just so smart and clever that a beautiful, sweet ballad comes out of Marilyn loving Yeats, but in their own voice. And it's in the concert on Wednesday, and it's beautiful, and Mark accompanies it, and it's a really exquisite moment in the concert.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mark played every year, James and I do a concert to help older foster children get adopted, because once a kid hits 8 years old, people are not interested in adopting them.
Am I too old?
I was one of the most famous people.
Am I too old for that?
Can you be adopted? Any age is fine, dear.
Any age. So Megan actually did our first 2 concerts in 2015, 2016 for You Gotta Believe, which, by the way, Megan, we're doing it again virtually on this Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday we're going to do it again. Yeah.
I'm there. Or I'm here, I guess. Yeah.
We're texting you.
We'll text you
We're going to do it on Stars in the House, but it's called You Gotta Believe. You Gotta Believe.org. It helps older foster kids get homes. And Megan suggested the song, and it's so perfect. So anyway, Mark, this is the first year we did it. This is you playing.
It's a little snippet
from Megan with my orchestra, and it was so perfect because there were children there that had been, that were deserted by their families and that found homes. It's just beautiful. Here we go. I love the song.
So now I wake up every day and see her standing there, just waiting for a partner to compose. And I wish my mother still could hear that sound beyond compare. I'll play her song till everybody knows that something second-hand and broken still can make a pretty sound. Don't we all deserve a family room to live? Oh, the words can't stay unspoken until everyone has found that second-hand white baby grand that still has something beautiful to give. I still have something beautiful to give.
Love it.
For Mark. Yay, Mark.
Hey, Kat McPhee, I just emailed you some donations for you to read, and Megan Hilty, I texted you some donations for you to read.
There's so many coming in. These are just a few.
Yeah, I divided them. So, Kat, you have an email. Megan, you have a text.
Yeah, it's long. Should I read the whole thing? Or?
Yeah, people are making comments. Keep it going.
Carol from Massachusetts, $103. Thanks for this show tonight. Excited about Wednesday, too. I was at the concert in 2015. What a wonderful evening it was. Laura from Oregon. Oh, I thought this was the continuation one. Do you want to do one? Yeah.
I haven't gotten any yet. I haven't got the email.
Oh, I'll keep going. Yeah. Laura from Oregon, $51. What's with all the extra dollars?
I think that it's people that are paying for the processing or credit card fees. So then it all goes, every penny goes to the extra fund.
Got it. I'm donating today in honor of my husband Andy's 50th birthday. Yesterday, we're huge fans of Smash, and in 2015, we were lucky enough to score tickets to the Bombshell concert.
Aww.
Can't wait to live it again on Wednesday.
That's so nice. Did you send it to Kat?
I did. I emailed you, Kat.
Did you email it to me just recently, or?
Yeah, like a minute ago. Well, we can go on with the show, and it should come.
I got it. It just came through. Carol from Connecticut, $25 in memory of Helen Lynn from Pennsylvania. $25. I can't tell if I'm doing this right. Love this series. You are running. Are we running?
Yes, Stars in the House. This one.
Oh, okay. I was very lucky to have seen the concert at the Minskoff too. Samantha from New York. Smash holds a special place in my heart. I'm a huge Maryland fan. Mark and Scott, you are my favorite MT duo. And remember watching the series, dreaming of that life back in London. Kathy from Virginia, 41. Thank you. I mean, this is such great donations. Samantha from California, 100. Thank you for doing this. Shall I keep going?
Yes.
Okay.
Shyness.
Thank you for all your hard work. Gonna keep donating as much as I can. Broadway will always hold a special place in my heart, and that includes Smash. Lynn from Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania. I was so very lucky to see the Bombshell concert. What a night. Heather from Colorado, $103. Thank you for doing a Bombshell Smash reunion. My dad and I loved it in 2012, and I'm just binging it again during quarantine. The music is everything.
Aww.
Bravo.
Nice.
So many people saw the concert and are eager to see it again. It's great.
Yeah, I didn't see the damn concert. I finally get to see it Wednesday.
Yeah, it looks beautiful too, and it looks beautiful, and they remixed the whole thing for the soundboard. It's gorgeous. It looks really great.
And it's on people.com. Don't forget that, people. It's on people.com.
What were you gonna say, Megan?
I was gonna say I remembered that the baseball number was naughty, but
we cleaned it up.
Naughty. It's X-rated.
I know.
We cleaned it up for TV, but naughty for the stage production.
Yes, it's very naughty.
It's naughty. Yeah.
Wait, naughty in terms of what? The staging or the lyrics?
Yeah.
The staging.
The staging. The things I've been doing, I don't really want my kids to.
Okay, so the other night we were watching the concert in our kitchen. Meg was watching it on a computer. I went into the kids' room to check on them to see if they were sleeping. I came back out, and this is the face I saw on Megan. As that movie was playing. Because
I don't know what some of the things mean, right?
Yeah.
It's about baseball.
Yeah. Some of the characters are, will they?
Speaking of the children, I don't know where they are or what they're doing, so I'm gonna go take care of them.
Maybe they're making dinner.
Hey,
I don't know.
Hey, Kat, I don't know anything about your waitress run. Did you have any good onstage mishap stories? Did a pie ever fall on your face or something?
There were so many because I mean, as you know, if you've seen the show many times, there's so many props. It's just about props on props on props, that show. But my favorite story of things gone wrong was actually when I did it in London. And this was in the first, I think we were still in previews, and this was definitely when we were still in previews. And the cast, because they hadn't had as much experience of, like when I walked into the show in New York, they were all, they created the show. So they knew that this show is like a domino. If one thing gets left behind backstage or one thing doesn't get handed to somebody, it's a domino effect. So basically, you know, Jenna has all these pie reveries, where she's like, my husband's a jerk chicken pot pie. So basically what happens is the mean husband comes into the diner and he sits down, and I'm supposed to like get back to work, but I'm just putting a pie in front of him to get out of the way and get back to work. And I go upstage to get the pie, and there's no pie there. And I am slowly dying on stage because I'm realizing, oh my gosh, there's no pie. And the whole next 5 minutes of the show is about the pie. And so what am I to do? Like, I basically have to find a pie very quickly. So I started wandering around the stage, like, literally just like, then the other cast members were having their own worlds, and they were trying to figure out what was happening. And then they realized I was looking for a pie, and I was just like, you couldn't ad lib your way out of it. You basically just had to tell the audience. I said it with an accent. I stayed in character, but I said, well, the thing is, we really can't get through this I can't do an accent right now, but we can't do this without a piece of pie. And then the audience understood that the pie, and then all the other actors started trying to find a piece of pie. It was complete chaos.
I feel like that every night now.
I know.
Wandering for pie.
But really what the lesson was learned was that in the opening number, I guess this piece of pie that was placed preset was knocked off of the piano. And so when it was knocked off the piano, even if it had been like on the floor, they had to learn that, like, even if it's on the floor, you got to put it back where it was, or you tell the stage manager, yeah. So, but it was in previews. How are they to know? Was it going to be a domino effect? So that was a fun.
That is stressful. Okay, so hold on, wait. Oh, just 2 more minutes. Megan, just because I think everyone will appreciate it, please tell you my favorite Wicked story when you were doing your wand experimenting.
Oh my gosh. Are you talking about the one in Popular or the giant one?
I was talking when you were doing your amazing plie.
Oh gosh.
Sorry.
Okay, so there was, okay. So I did this for like 4.5 years, and it was a challenge to keep, especially the comedy fresh, you know, doing the same thing every night. So one night I was really, really focused on the wand when I'm turning her ball gown into a frock. And so I was like doing these deep plies in seconds. So my legs are spread wide apart, going really far down. I'm looking really intensely at it. And I go like this, like to blow hair out of my face as I'm plieing, but my microphone was right here. So as I'm doing this deep plie, all you hear is, and it rang out throughout the theater, and it stopped the show. Everybody was laughing so hard. So I didn't do this very often, but I had to address it somehow. And I did it in the way that I thought Glinda would, and I blamed Elphaba, and I said, "Excuse you," and then kept going after everybody came back together. But it was one of those things that was like, you couldn't just let that.
Was that Shoshana? Was it Shoshana?
No, it was Eden Espinosa. Yeah.
Hey, Steph, can I tell a funny, quick, total mishap story from 9 to 5 the musical on Broadway?
Yes, my favorite.
We had a very, very technical set with lots of computers and elevators, and it would often stop for unknown reasons, you know, and the cast was so good about dealing with it, little bits here and there. One afternoon matinee, it wouldn't work at all. The entire automation system stopped at the near the beginning of the show, and the decision was made. I wasn't in the theater. The decision was made to do the performance without the computers and the elevators, and no scenery was delivered onto the stage for the majority of the show. And they just did it and sort of stood and acted as like nothing was happening. So with chairs and typewriters and set pieces that were coming out of the floor or from the wings, they just did the show without them. And I think it was horrifying to go through, right, Megan? But you guys are such professionals that, you know, the show must go on.
It's like pure. It's
We
sort of
did
like
it. I'll never forget it.
it's like doing a reading or something. I mean, it was kind of like doing a workshop.
Yeah.
Megan, did you have a breakdown?
Wicked. Me? No, it was just kind of like, okay, this is what we're doing now. One of my favorite things was when it would break down in Los Angeles and Dolly was with us backstage, and she would just take her guitar and she'd go in front of the curtain and do a sing along.
Yeah.
I think people started buying tickets hoping that the set would break down so that they could sing
It
with
happened on
Dolly.
the opening night in Los Angeles. The show stopped for about 15 minutes, and she was sitting there, and she's like, I'm going to get up and just entertain people. And she took questions, and she sang, and people loved it, and unfortunately told me that was the best part of the show. But, you know.
Okay, 2 more questions. Kat McPhee, are you coming back to Broadway, please?
I would love to. Yes, absolutely. Don't know what it is, but I would love to. Yeah.
Okay, so have you ever been doing like a workshop of a show lately or something?
No, there is. My husband's been working on a couple different musicals. One's Betty Boop Forever, and he's like, I swear it's never happening, and that's not something that I will on the stage side be involved in. Maybe I'll be a producer. Who knows? You never. Strange things have happened, but he's actually working on another musical called Lucky Us, which is based off of an Amy Bloom book. But these things can take. They need to go quicker rather than slower because I'll just get too old and I won't be. but there's a little, we're having conversations about actually Michael Mayer. It wants to direct it, so we had like our creative, but they still got to write a bunch of songs and things like that. So that would be really cool if it was somehow connected to my husband. But if it's not, it would be great for something else too.
He's an amazing musician. Megan Hilty, what about you, lady? Any Broadway plans?
I'm supposed to be in New York right now doing a workshop of a new musical that has been postponed. We're going to do it online. We're going to start reading it on Zoom, and then hopefully later in the fall or maybe even in the spring. I'm scheduled to come back in the fall until we're not, So, but yeah, there is something that I'm a part of that's really exciting.
And Mark and Scott, some like it hot. What's happening with that?
Well, Bob's one of the producers on that, as well as Neil.
Back and take me off.
We're going to the fall of 21. So we're just on the jetway waiting to take off.
Hopefully we can bring audiences back into a theater, sooner than later. But we think the fall of 21 is safe. Yeah,
we've done a lot of workshops, full 5-week ones of it. It's been a really great experience. Casey Nicola is directing it, and
it's a perfect show for you guys. Kat, let me take you off for 1 minute while you prepare to sing, and I'm gonna bring on Neil and ask him his plans. Neil, dear. What's your next extravaganza going to be?
Oh my goodness. Bombshell in concert on Wednesday.
There you go.
Please donate.
Donate to the Actors Fund.
But after that, I'm supposed to be producing the movie version of 13, the Jason Robert Robert.
Oh, we love that show.
I Wanna Wonder Bra. I love that show.
We were supposed to start shooting this summer, but like Megan, we're postponed. And there are a bunch of other things that I'm working on to be announced.
All right. Well, you're going to come back
as Bob would say.
To be announced. All right. So we're going to bring back on Kat, Neil. I'm going to bring you back for a full show. My dog's going crazy. Kat McPhee, no need to be nervous. Now you can just sing for us all.
Okay. I'm going to sing, if you remember from second season, Heart-Shaped Wreckage, which is actually a song that I had kept for myself as it was a demo that I found this songwriter, Lucy Silvis, who I thought maybe I wanted to put it on my, just an album that I was going to put out. And then Josh, who was our new showrunner, was looking for songs. And I said, maybe you'll be able to fit this in there in the second season. So I thought, I don't sing it in the concert, so I'll sing it for you guys.
Yay.
I would like to introduce my company.
It's called Bluetooth. Okay, I'll take everybody off screen.
I'm not scared to tell the truth. I've been to hell and back, and I went with you. Remind me what we were before. When we said you are mine and I am yours. I don't know much, but I know myself. And I don't wanna love anybody else. So let's break the spell and lift the curse. Remember what we felt for each other at first. Look at this heart-shaped wreckage. What have we done? We have got scars from battles nobody won. We can start over better. Both of us know if we just let the broken pieces, let the broken pieces go. I can't find you in the dark. Can we get back to who we are? I can't fix this on my own. Your love is still the best thing I've ever known. Look at this heart-shaped wreckage. What have we done? We have got scars from battles nobody won. And we can start over better. Both of us know if we just let the broken pieces, let the broken pieces go. And hold on to each other tonight. Whoa, look at this heart-shaped wreckage. What have we done? We have got scars from battles nobody won. And we can start over better. Both of us know if we just let the broken pieces, let the broken pieces, let the broken pieces, let the broken pieces go. Go. Yay!
Kat, the fluidity.
Who's that song from? I mean, who wrote it?
It was Lucy Silvis, who I worked with in the studio working on just my own writing stuff. And she was, I mean, if you like that song, you should hear her sing it because her voice is so cool and like scratchy and amazing. And I just was keeping the song for myself because I loved it. And then we put it in second season. I just said, I don't know if you want to use, like, you need songs for, because, you know, we didn't have like a Mark and Scott for the other show, which was called, I don't remember what it was called.
Hit list.
That's right. So they had to basically just grab different writers from, you know, and kind of try to make a musical. It was no Bombshell. Let's just put it that way.
And Megan, who wrote Crazy Dreams? As a songwriter, I want to make sure people, do you know who wrote it or who was the artist?
I believe Carrie Underwood did it.
Yeah.
And I believe she was a writer on it as well.
A writer on it, I think.
Yeah, I was a writer on it, but it was a bunch of really great Nashville. I actually used to know some of the Nashville writers. They're great Nashville writers.
I remember that episode Tom Kitt played at the piano.
Right.
That's right. Yeah.
And my musical director, when I actually go on tour, did that for me today because we weren't going to be at home. We're actually at my husband's family's house, so we didn't have a piano. So he just threw it in Teddy. So if you're watching, Doug, thank you for putting that together.
Kat, I'm obsessed with the fluidity of your riffs. They were so quick. Oh
my God. Thank you. You know,
Where do you see Wednesday?
This is from one of your stage managers. I know Michael Clarkson. So honored to be part of the stage management team on this. Miss you all.
We had a great stage manager. Peter Lawrence was the stage manager.
Yeah.
We've got so many more donations. I'll read you just one. This is from Sunny from North Carolina, donated $51. Thank you so much for doing this. I loved watching Smash with my mom when it aired. I just watched the series again this year with my teenage son. Now all 3 generations are watching this reunion. Thank you for my mom, Nancy, my son Daniel, and myself. You have brought us such joy. So, thank you. So everybody's going to watch Wednesday, people.com, and then Bob Greenblatt said Bombshell's coming to Broadway 2022 December. So very excited.
At the St. James. It's opening at the St. James.
I don't know.
Available.
I just
So,
wanted
Marky,
to also say for anybody who's watching, I'm gonna try to do some tweeting, but the hashtag, I think I spoke to Neil about this. We want to make an official hashtag Bombshell in concert. So if anybody, we want to get it like trending. Thank you. Wow. Trending so that we can get lots of people donating and more attention to the show.
Yeah.
I think I just did it.
I want to give a shout out to people also. They were so nice to want to host us. We just wanted to get a platform that had millions and millions of readily available people because we just wanted to put this out the biggest way and hopefully raise a ton of money for the Actors Fund.
People.com.
People.com, and it's on Wednesday. It's a live concert, and the singing was completely live. And it was just,
Yes,
You'll hear it.
We had
And a huge orchestra,
There
giant.
are some moments I'm not proud of, but it's live.
No, but
Yeah.
there's also, it's live singing, but then you guys did enormous choreography and we're out of breath. And then I think Kat, you do 20th Century Fox Mambo, and then you immediately do Never Give All the Heart.
There's a little break there, but yeah, I watched it back. I was like, I'm not gonna be too hard on myself to catch my breath as quickly as I did. Me and Mark, we did a good job.
Yeah.
Oh, I did mess up your lyrics though, Mark. Oh, Scott.
It was both of our lyrics, and yes.
Yes. I was
And
like,
by the way-
"Never give all the heart."
The beauty of live performing.
Yeah.
it was like the day after the Tony Awards too, which is so crazy. And Christian had just won.
Yeah. Yeah.
Christian won the night before, right?
Yeah. It was an amazing night.
Christian also, he at one point walks into what I know people call it the white room, when suddenly the lyrics just go out. So there's a moment in his song where he just,
Wow.
he goes right back in.
It comes right back in. Yeah.
That song is lyrically so difficult
I
and so
know.
fast.
Yeah,
The fact that he was able to do that is a miracle, but he rarely ever misses anything.
And it's only because like there's a cigar being passed through him and it dropped.
Yeah.
It's live. And the orchestra, Doug Gutterman conducted this full orchestra perfectly. There's every tempo, every cue.
I know. There's a harp on stage. When's the last time there's a harp on stage?
And like a 20-voice choir to do all that tight harmony.
That's also the song, If I Should Be So Bold. There's the entire male ensemble is almost naked. So,
yes.
Yeah, perfect timing, Bob. Perfect timing. He just came on screen.
Megan, I haven't held him since he was like 2 weeks old.
Yeah, he's big.
Oh, look how adorable.
Is he a musician yet?
No, my daughter is big time. Like she's been, hi baby. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Her ear is pretty amazing.
Viola.
So what? Someone tell me, when is it my turn? Don't I get it?
I know. No, just wait. Just wait.
Baby June.
So we got an important question here, which is what time is the concert on Wednesday, just so people know?
8 p.m. It goes East Coast and then, throughout everything. 8 p.m.
8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
All right, so Marky, we're going to play our little final credits. Will you play us out with some underscoring? We're going to just roll the credits. Say goodbye at the end.
Yay! Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Perfect timing, Mark.
Well,
hi, Viola. You're so big. All right, bye, everybody.
There's the dog. All right. Bye,
All right, thank you. See you Wednesday.
Oh my God, I got to click up. Oh my God,
You can't even click in.